we're recording on the GTX1660. The GPU usage is already quite high because it's using the internal encoder. But we're going to see how this works on DCS. Here we go. Start it. It's going to take a very long time to boot up. GPU usage is going down. This game is pretty much unplayable on a GT710. From my experience, I've noticed that it is very playable on the GTX1660. I'd hope for better overall performance with the 1660 over across multiple different games, but some of the older games there is not any significant improvement in, but the newer games like say DCS and it's loading quickly. It's because it's already been preloaded, so it's not really it's loading from, I guess, RAM that it's already seen. It doesn't help that that's in the way. But we're going to go to instant action. And there is a free aircraft here. Su-25T. Unfortunately, it is a Russian aircraft. So, I mean, I'm sure they make some great stuff, but being an American, it's kind of sucky to have to fly a Russian aircraft. So we're going to go to target practice. I cannot fly this thing worth a flip, but the purpose of this is to see how DCS World responds on a GTX1660, to see how a GTX1660 can transform this PC into something that's more modern without spending a whole lot of money. This PC is 10 years old, so I've probably said elsewhere, and we're going to hope that I actually can do this target practice right and not make a big mess of things. So here in DCS World, it gives us some of the basic commands, which of course I will forget, but the main thing I need is number 7, because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to do something very simple. So we're going to go ahead and fly and hit on number 7. Automatically go to number 7.
Ahead of you at waypoint 1 is an island with an assortment of targets.
It's telling me to go after those red smoke things.
You have a wide array of weapons to choose from.
As you can see,
destroy as many units as you can.
A huge amount of detail here, and the flight is fairly smooth. Now, of course, if I could even better optimize my operating system, we'd have even less issues with jerkiness, etc. But the game is at least playable, which is completely unplayable, in my opinion, when we're dealing with the, completely unplayable on the GT710, which only has 1 gigabyte of memory, by the way. And this card has 6 gigabytes of memory, and they actually recommend 8. And I'm about to crash trying to find this stuff, these targets. Okay, I can see the targets. And I have no idea, I'm about to crash. Boom! Okay. So anyways, I nearly crashed because I'm a horrible pilot. And the last flight sim I actually played was, what was it? Falcon 3 and Falcon 4, and I got pretty good at those, but the F-16 mod on DCS is like $70 or something. It's pretty expensive. And I think I can get like a 50% discount if I download the regular DCS, besides this. I'm running the one in Steam for at least my first purchase, which would of course be the F-16. But I'm not going to, I'll stick with Steam for now. I would actually recommend that if you're going to get into DCS that you use the native DCS and not mess with Steam. Steam OS is great, but Steam under Windows is really not a very desirable experience, and unfortunately DCS World will not run under SteamOS. Okay, I think I've allowed myself a little bit of time to fly up. In an actual combat situation, I would never do this. fly this far in one straight line. I mean, it's just really retarded. But now I'm going to turn around. I guess I was at 360. I'm going to try to hit 180. And because now on an F-16, I could do this in like a hairpin turn. But with this plane, you have to be really careful. You're going to get a lot of warnings. Oh, look at those beautiful clouds. You would not see anything like that in Falcon 4. And yet this game runs so flawlessly. It's just amazing. I'm going to try to pull a little more G's. Hopefully I won't get a warning. I'm about to crash. I think, oh, there they are. Right there. There's the red targets. I'm going to go back for one more pass. And I'm about to hit the ground again. Better hit thrust. Ooh, I'm really close to the ground. I'm really pushing it. So, anyways, that's the point. And when I boot this up, when I show you on the left, or wherever I put this, on the the one for the 710, you're going to notice that the jerkiness is just so ridiculous that you can't even play the game. Okay? So the GPU is maxed out at 100%, but the cool thing is that there's not any serious jerkiness. I could really imagine myself playing this game in a situation where there was maybe multiple aircraft flying and a couple of ground targets, and I could actually see this happening. I wouldn't have to put forth maybe too much of an investment in order to get this going after buying the initial 1660 card. One other cool thing, I don't know the controls of this, so I'm not going to be dropping bombs or nothing, but oh, I must have switched. I think I switched weapons. Oh, you see that? I'm getting shot at, and I'm on the wrong weapon. Somehow I lost my guns. I don't know how that happened. 6. Let's go to 6. Now back to 7. Well, the point of this is not to demonstrate that I'm a good pilot. The point is for you to see that this game runs quite well under the 1660. They actually often recommend 8 gigs of RAM, but 6 gigs of RAM would be is apparently acceptable. And the F-16, the F-15 module, F-15C module recommends, I think, what is it? Doesn't necessarily require 8 gigs of RAM, and it's only like $15 right now. So that would be a really good one. I don't know if it comes with a scenario or not, but it comes with the plane, and the F-15 should be quite a bit easier to fly than this contraption for sure. Anyway, that's it. Okay, now we're testing Aqua Kitty. The soundtrack is by Mark Day. Electric Cafe. He writes some seriously. Now we're testing Aqua Kitty. The soundtrack is by Mark Day. Electric Cafe. The dude writes some seriously awesome soundtracks. Pull this out. I hope I don't disable my joystick in the future. Okay. Right. Okay. This game does not necessarily need to be tested very thoroughly, but it is a really favorite of mine. It runs really fine on the GT710, so there's not really a huge need to test it on the GTX1660, but I love this game so much that I'm putting it in here anyways, and I think Mark Day's maybe my hero. This game was written by Tiki Talk, so we're gonna go down here to the Infinite Espresso, and we're going to see how long I last before I die. It's at 30 frames per second, Microsoft claims. I love this soundtrack. Its OBS Studio is running in the background. So not only is this game... Whoa, I'm not going to hit that. Not only is this game running at decent definition, smoothness, and everything, but it's also running. It's also recording gameplay at the same time, and that's one of the advantages of having a card that can do hardware encoding, like the GTX1660. The 710 does not have supported hardware encoding embedded, and so because I do some modest or beginning level content creation, I felt like I needed a card that had like a hardware encoder on there, and that was my justification for getting the 1660, is because I wanted to have the hardware encoder so I had the ability to hopefully do content creation at a more efficient speed, or more efficiently. Oh, look at that diagonal blowing. Oh, there's a bomb. Let's see if I can get to the bomb before I die. Boom. Yeah. Okay, I got that. Still going. I'm probably gonna, yep, there I go. You don't need to see this all the time anyways. So we go back to map, and we go to exit map. You're not gonna see it. I was hoping you would see Mark Day's name in the credits, but I'm not seeing it. So that was the point of me going back on that. Let's go quit game, see if it, there it is. Down at the bottom, it says music and sound effects, Electric Cafe, down at the bottom of the credits. But this game was actually written by Tiki Talk, and it is written very well, super solid, super fluid. We're running on a slow machine like mine. You can see it's a 3.07 gigahertz machine, but I have issues in Windows 10. Let's just put it that way. So this, I highly recommend this game. Awesome, it's fun to play with your children. Okay, now we're going to test Falcon 4, and the results are quite disappointing. I've been through this video several times because I keep messing up, so I'm going through it again. I had numerous technical difficulties the first time I went through, and I tried to make it funny, but it just never did quite work out, so I'm redoing everything. This is Falcon 4. This game runs really well on older machines. I could be mistaken, but I thought this game used to run fine on like a Pentium 3. And I've got like some super fast modern Xeons. I mean, they're old, they're like 10 years old. They're probably 10 years old, but compared to a Pentium 3, come on. A Xeon, whatever it is, compared to a Pentium 3, this is just ridiculous. This game, and the reason why this game apparently runs like garbage is because Microsoft is running some sort of a retarded emulation layer underneath the hoods to emulate DirectX 9 inside of like DirectX 1112. So we're going to go ahead and go into action. You see how even with the GTX1660 that this game is basically not playable, even though the F16 like turns on a dime compared to that SU whatever it was. So what I would recommend, you know, seriously, I mean, if you got it at all, any kind of modern computer, just don't even bother with this game. Get the F16 package or the, see how this is just unplayable. It's so slow. I've got that guy coming right after me and I can't hit him because I'm over adjusting. And this is this same kind of thing I'm dealing with the 1610. Now this is the higher resolution, but it's still pathetic. Okay, let's try it. I mean, we'll try something real quick. Exit in mission. Let's go back. Hopefully, it won't take too long to go back to the previous image. We'll
that was a real goat rope.
Yeah, I know. I suck. Excuse my language. Embrace the suck, right? That's the way. That's not a very good term for me to use. My mother and my children would not approve of me using that word, but it's like a military term, you know. I learned it when training for the Iron Man. As a former Special Forces guy, he was doing an Iron Man, and he or was it a Ranger? I don't know if he's Spec Ops or Ranger, but he was pretty daggum tough. And that was one of his settings. So I'm gonna go back over here. Yeah, I've got like invulnerability turned on. Go to graphics. We're gonna go and change this to. That should be. Yeah, it says direct 3D. That's what it should be. We're gonna go back down to like 640 or 800 by 600. Okay, maybe that'll do. Okay. All this really doesn't make it much of a whole beans. But we're gonna go 800, 600. Click OK. I'm gonna try this again. But this runs like flawlessly on the higher resolutions, I think, in SteamOS. So I don't know what the problem is here. It's using Proton, an emulation layer. So Microsoft has done a crummy job of emulating or supporting DirectX 9 on Windows 10 and higher. They couldn't have messed it up even worse. Any worse. Yeah, see, this is still unplayable, but whoops, still unplayable, but it's a lot smoother now. I mean, it's sort of playable, but it's not anywhere compared to like the smoothness of GCS World. You can actually, and see, it's a lot. This aircraft is a lot easier to handle. Before long, I'm going to probably have the G thing come in. I'm going to have like a tunnel coming in because I'm probably pulling too many Gs. I don't know. Maybe I'm not pulling that many Gs because I'm going too slow. But that's not the point. It's just the GTX1660 makes no difference on this game. Well, anyways. That was a real goat rope.
That was a real goat rope.
Or they could have said the airlines are hiring. Honestly, that's one of the things they like to say to me. I did a lot better when this was like a Pentium. I could land this thing on time. When it was on a Pentium 3. I had a lot more time on my hands when I was younger. Before I like got married. Anyway, so let's go over here. I don't know what all this is. Let's go here. And the improvements here are not what I would expect out of a card of this caliber. So I'm really disappointed because Overload is not that old of a game. And you know, Descent 3 will run on the old GT710 like flawlessly. And you would expect that because, or of course it runs a GT. Oh look, it's pretty smooth right now. Oh wow, this is the smoothest I've seen this in Windows 10. Oh, okay, I see it. I've already killed all the robots. That's not good. We don't want to... Okay, let's see. Oops. Quit the main menu. Quit. We need to play mission. There. Sorry about that. Yeah. We'll go here. I'm a rookie. Okay, well, this right here, you can tell whether this game's going to run jerky or not. Based upon this sequence right here. As this little mini, this is a pretty lame sequence, but as this mini spacecraft flies across, if it flies through your jerky, you know you're gonna have a bad experience in the game. Okay? And it's flying pretty smooth right now. This is on the GT1660, so we're gonna get an X out of there. Okay, we don't need to see all this. And my settings are at the pretty low settings, but the point is we need this to be smooth. And there was a little jerk right there. But this is looking pretty good right now. This is playable. Definitely. I love to crank the music up on this. I'm not going to do it right now, but I love the soundtrack on this. Oh, see that jerk? That's the kind of thing you do not want when you're playing and you get like on a special level against the robots. If you find like a secret room, it gets really... Oh man, look at that jerk. It gets really nasty in those special rooms. Where is he? Where is he? I don't know where he went. Oh, there he is.
Evelyn Buhari, geologist.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna get really stupid. I'm gonna go crazy here. I'm gonna waste all my ammo. That's what I'm gonna do. There we go. Okay. There's like a secret room around here. No, not secret room. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, wait a minute. I think... Whoops. absolutely no idea what I'm on. I'm screwing up here all over. I like to play this game a little bit more than I do, what is it? I just picked up some hunters. A little bit more than I do. There's the easy one. Oh, there's one more thing here. I don't think I should ask you because that'll ruin it for me. But somewhere down here, there's just like this door that goes to like a secret room, and I can't figure out how to lock this stupid thing. Where is this stupid door? Oh, wait a minute. Woo! Those things, if you get hit by those, it's not a good idea. It's definitely not something you want. There go the hunters. Okay, what? Just a pause. Okay, where is this door? Can't find it. Where's that door? I'm looking for that door. Not there. There's a key. I had one of these. I had like one operator left one time, and he went and tracked me down on the rookie level. How do I unlock this stupid door? Ah! I'm about to die. Woo! I think I'm gonna quit before I die. They're tracking me down again. They're coming up on me on the rear end. Okay, we don't need to test Stardew Valley. It ran fine on the GT710. It's a fun game to play with your children in co-op mode. I would not let your children play that game by themselves. Not that they shouldn't, and there's nothing really horribly bad in there, but if you have an opportunity, you should play these games alongside your children. I used to play Legos with my kids, and story time was a really great time for us until they got older, and I tried to get them hooked on Civilization when they got older. That didn't go over so well, and they liked Stardew Valley, and I did play it with them, but they like to play by themselves, and it kind of just ruined the whole thing. I should have played Stardew Valley with them more. So don't let your kids go all through Stardew Valley by themselves. By all means, make it a family effort so you all can enjoy it together. Anyway, no need to test Civilization 5. It ran fine on the GT710. Civilization 6 requires a really super robust video card. And yeah, I did try to get my kids hooked on Civilization, but it's just too time consuming. Stardew Valley is not quite as time consuming. You can kind of step in and out, and it doesn't suck up your life like Civilization does. Civilization will eat you alive. It will destroy your life. It destroys families, lives, academic careers. So if you're like single and you a guy and you have absolutely nothing to do, then this is the game for you, because it's more addictive probably than crack, cocaine, alcohol. Yeah. I mean, I could like treat eating disorders with this game, but I've got a certain mom of my children that believes that video games are evil and maybe the work of the devil, just like I think cell phones are the work of the devil. But she seems to think video games are the work of the devil. I mean, no, she doesn't think that literally, but she seems to think that. And I have a child that would be a hell of a lot better off today if she would have came and lived with me, but she didn't, and she lived with her mother, and now she's not doing so well. That's a really big sore spot of mine, because I have an addictive personality. I'm addicted to sugar to some extent. Well, no, I never was addicted to sugar, but I behave like an alcoholic, even though I'm not an alcoholic. Never had any alcohol in my life, but sugar and alcohol apparently metabolize the same. And one of the things that I used to like, that's pretty smooth. One of the things I used to like to do with my former, with their mother, is I used to like to enjoy banana splits
This has not been without its price.
with her on New Year's Eve. But if you don't get a control of your metabolism and your sugar cravings, it can cause problems of irritability. And so I never really had a whole lot of sugar, but you know, I'm not so sure that those banana splits and all that sugar that I was consuming around the holidays didn't like jack me up and make me more irritable, not to mention being around in-laws. Of course, in-laws will make anybody cranky, but I love being around my children. We never got to spend Christmas by ourselves, really. We always had to go over to our relatives, and when I went over to see my mother, there would be, excuse the word, but there would be bitching when I came back home, and I really didn't appreciate it, and that didn't help our relationship much either. So let's see if I can find a way to load this up. I know Christians shouldn't be using that word, but actually that word's in the dictionary, so I don't know what the problem is. I mean, I love her, but she is like so unflexible. I mean, she has turned in like to what do they call those? Razorback. She's like a razorback now. And so am I, but I'm just telling you, man, if you ever been around a razorback, I mean, been around a boar, I mean, they're not like the most likable things in the world. So, let's see. I don't know why she won't forgive me. I'm gonna go and try with this one. I just want to give you a feel for what this game. Hopefully, it won't be like a spoiler or anything. One of the things you need to be careful, if you're a gamer, you need to make sure you go into your power management settings. You need to make sure that you optimize it for performance, and you need to try to like set the minimum CPU usage to 100. It won't work perfectly. It will improve things, because if you don't, Windows will like aggressively scale your modern CPUs down, and you like may have a 3 gigahertz CPU, and it'll like scale it down to like 2 gigahertz occasionally to save power. And what's going to happen is it's going to ramp up and down constantly. It's going to really mess with your gaming performance. The other thing is, of course, your antivirus. You don't want to like super obtrusive antivirus. And I guess Microsoft Defender is okay. But I think part of my problem that I'm having on my computer is actually literally Microsoft Defender, because it just sits there. I've been in Windows 10 sometimes, and I'd like click on something in File Explorer, and like a minute later, it'll come up. I'm like, what the heck? Because, you know, in like Linux, I don't have that problem. All these random weird issues. It could be viruses, but, you know, I don't know. Or cyber attacks. You know, the Chinese could be screwing with my computer because they don't like me. I'm not a real big fan of the Chinese. I mean, the Chinese government. I mean, I'm cool with Chinese Americans. If you're an American citizen, you're A-okay in my book. But I don't want to mess with that great prophet. You're okay in my book, but if you're like communist China, you know, like foreign agent stuff, forget it, man. We can't talk. It's just not gonna work. See how that spins nicely? I don't really want to get over the giant death robots, because I think that would spoil the game for you. I'd rather you see the giant death robot on your own when you get there, if you ever get this game. But I just want to show you kind of what this, a few things here. This is not the right guy for some reason. I want to get to, I don't know where let's see what this guy looks like. We're not going to be able to see any combat because there's no barbarians nearby, and there's a war going on over in Gandhi's land, but as I said, I don't want to show. Look at that, I got like an ancient pikeman in there. I mean, what am I doing with that in, you know, it's like I'm getting ready to launch a spacecraft, just about. Or I probably already have. I'm actually building a giant death robot there. And I don't want to talk about the special weapons, because that could give like children nightmares. I used to have like fears of I grew up in the Cold War, and I used to have like fears of special weapons landing in my backyard. I'm already giving people nightmares. Look at that tank. So anyways, this is pretty fluid. No problem with this. Let's check out the leaders real quick. Make sure the leaders work. See how smooth that is? Nice and smooth. It says 4160 frames per second. It's actually recording in OBS while it's doing this. So that's pretty impressive. That it's recording in OBS and doing that. Now that's like really fluid right there. That fan. And see the Koreans. Man, they're really sneaky. The Chinese and the Koreans of this game, you gotta watch out for them because they're like science. They're like science people, and they will like launch a spaceship before you can even like blink your eyes. You know. So if you're like I'm playing on like King level or no, sorry, Prince. I'm not good enough for King. So like on Prince level, you gotta really watch them, and you really gotta put your spies to good use in the Prince level, especially if you run across the Chinese or the Koreans. Either one, sometimes they'll spy from you and steal tech from you, or other case they'll just downright keep recruiting the great scientists, and you'll have to just use your own spies to catch up. I don't know. There's Broadway. I don't know what else to say about this right now, but just the point is, this is like really fluid. Like no performance issues whatsoever with the GT1660, and this is in Windows. And generally speaking, I get better performance in SteamOS, but the problem with SteamOS is it's really difficult to record video in SteamOS right now. I think they purposely disable it because they don't want people ripping off intellectual property, whatnot. But I'm not trying to rip off intellectual property. I'm just using this in a fair use scenario just to give you a basic idea of what the game's like. You can go buy the game, especially Aqua Kitty. I highly recommend you buy Aqua Kitty and support Mark Day, Electric Cafe. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And because before long I'm gonna have to pull out the GT1660 and put in the GT1610 so that you can see an example of the two side by side. I actually did this with the 710 before I put it in the 1660 originally, but things didn't go right with all the recordings, and so I had to redo everything. Okay, so here's a video I've been working on for my daughter, and this is actually the major reason why I bought the GT1660 is because well, actually, I upgraded from Debian 11 to Debian 12, and the Novu or the Nvidia proprietary drivers would no longer work with my 1610 on Debian 12. So I messed around with the Novu drivers for a while, but they're not really all that great, and so I was trying to figure out, well, what can I do to make things like this right here work better for me while I'm editing, so I don't have more problems down the future. It's not really cost effective to upgrade the PC right now. Mac Studio would be great but they're like $2,000, and you don't want to get a used Mac really, because the problem with used Macs is, although they have a high resale value, is that Apple cuts off security updates way faster than any other company that I know of, I think. Well, way faster than Microsoft, and security updates for Linux are like infinite. Like if you get a piece of hardware that works on Linux, they will upgrade it forever. They'll basically support it almost forever. Whereas with Windows, they cut it off after so many years, which is a long time for youngins, but for me, the time period of support in Windows seems like a short period because I'm young, but Apple is even faster. And so if you get a used Mac, it may be spec nice, but if you can't get security updates for it and you get on the internet for heaven forbids who knows what reason, and you like decide to buy something, who knows what could happen. I mean, in ransomware attacks, I told you that I had some hard drives crash on me. I'm not so sure it wasn't some sort of a cyber attack against me. It was probably just old hardware, because the drives were getting old, but it happened very suddenly. I had very little warning of what was going on, and Windows did not help, by the way. It gave me very little warning. The smart technology, it barely let me know something was wrong before, boom, the thing was hosed. And on the other hand, Linux was giving me some warnings, but at least more than Microsoft. But Windows, piece of I should put like a beep in here, but I'm not going to because I don't want to waste the time with all that. But I could make this funny, and like I did try to do with the other one, but it wound up wasting a lot of time, and ultimately I had to scrap it all anyways because it just turned out to be nothing of use anyways. So the point of the matter is that, yeah, you don't want to buy a used Mac because of the security updates. They will expire very soon, and a Mac without security updates is not very useful. So that's one of the reasons why I like to stick with Linux and Windows. I don't like Windows. I prefer Linux, but Cubase will not run on Linux. And that's the major thing. And neither will Aqua Kitty. And I really like Aqua Kitty. I could get an Xbox just for Aqua Kitty if I could afford the Xbox. But or a Switch. Oh, what is it? Was it a Nintendo Switch for Aqua Kitty and Minecraft? I don't have Minecraft, but I keep wanting to play with my daughters, and I think there's something going on with the mom again. That's part of the reason. But anyway, so here we go. I'm going to show you this. This was supposed to improve, but it didn't. It starts out okay, but it gets jerky. And part of the reason is because it uses way too much CPU. Now, see that jerk right there? Regardless of whether you like my artwork or not, that jerk is kind of the thing I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and skip forward a bit. So skip forward. Wow, that's kind of slow. I hit. There it goes. See that right there? I was hoping to get rid of that, but it didn't. The GT1660 did not get rid of that. And you look, the CPU's not used very much. Neither is the GPU, so I don't know what's going on. If I pull up Task Manager, what is going on here? Like GPU's at 28 degrees, hard drives barely being used. It must be a bug in the program. But so ultimately, they may put out a patch that makes it run better. But I've had problems with PowerDirector too. Like there's a title slide back here. Where is it? Where's the title slide? See, it's taking a while to start back up again. Yeah, this title slide. All that is text, but apparently the way it renders that text, it causes this to jerk. And this is really hard to work with when I'm trying to preview. Now there is a way of getting around this. I showed someone on the internet showed me this real cool thing. I don't know where it is. To project settings, you can enable it globally, but you go over to proxy and you enable proxy clips, and it'll get rid of a lot of this. But I found that out after I bought the card because I couldn't figure out why the card didn't fix the problem. Proxy clips will help a lot. Okay, so if you run into problems like that, enable proxy clips. Of course, it doesn't hurt. Excuse me, sorry. I got some celery in my mouth. That wasn't very good. Oh man, I used to be able to burp better when I was a kid. But I really shouldn't do that because I think I used to burp a lot when I was a child. And now I have like this Adam's apple that sticks out like really far. And I can't help but wonder if that wasn't because I was practicing burping so much. I also practiced doing like farting noises with my hands and like my underarm and my legs because I thought it was cool because I was like a tween. You know, and that's just what like tween boys do when they're bored and by themselves and not around their moms and their. Actually, I grew up with my grandmother and my dad, but you get the point. So, yeah, so enable proxy clips. But one of the things here that I was having problems with was I go to render, file, was it project, render. I was doing single-threaded rendering, and it was taking forever, and I prefer WebM Opus VP9 because it's free. But you can also use MP4 because they don't charge royalties for it. If you're not like some major theater production place, if you're like the Kendrick Brothers, they're probably going to charge you licensing fees. But those guys probably make a pretty good amount of money, even though they do Christian films. So they're probably in a pretty good shape, so they can pay the licensing fees. But you know, you and me, they're not going to charge us licensing fees, so don't worry about it. You can use H.265. Although I would recommend VP9 because it is free, and it's written by Google, and you don't have to worry about royalties in that instance. Okay? Right? Got it. So, anyways, I'm going to use H.265 just for an example. And originally I was using like single-threaded encoding, and it was taking like forever. Okay? It was like taking like a stinking hour. Okay? Which I can wait for that when I'm rendering. But it actually caused this particular video to get like released the next day. I wanted it to go out on Christmas, but it took me like all day to write the music, to do the video production, and yeah, I should have started on it earlier. But basically, I went to communion. I was not being the best Christian I could. And so I was by myself, and I went to communion on Christmas. I went to church on Christmas Eve by myself, of course, and it wasn't great weather. And what did they have to do? They had to give us communion. So here I am taking communion, my sinful self. I'm like, really? Should I be taking communion? Well, I'm going to go ahead and take communion. And I did. And when you take communion, you're supposed to repent. So I go home, I've repented, and what am I supposed to do? I can't be bad like I wanted to be. Of course, I wasn't going to drink alcohol because I don't drink alcohol. I don't have any cravings for alcohol, although alcohol and sugar are metabolized the same. I think it's Dr. Robert Lustig of UC Berkeley will tell you that. You should Google him on YouTube. Dr. Robert Lustig. He will explain this stuff very well. Basically, sugar is poison. You don't want that stuff in your body. Natural sugar with fiber first is fine. The fiber feeds your gut microbiome. The sugar comes in, and it slowly gets into your system. But when you drink like juice without fiber, that's not great. But when you drink refined sugar, that white stuff, and not when you drink it. Some people probably drink it. They probably like pour it in their glass and drink it. Yeah, so that they call it lemonade, right? High fructose corn stuff, anything with like maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is like worse for sugar. Check out Dr. Eric Berg. Anyways, look at this. This thing is like 18 minutes, but I think it wound up taking like an hour, okay? I mean, it's like rendering like 3 frames per second. Well, I didn't know this because we're going to go ahead and cancel this, but that's part of the problem here. That's one of the reasons why I got this new video card, because, and of course, this new video card is not doing any better. It's like at 3 frames per second. But I'll show you a trick later that, and I haven't tested this yet, so it's going to be kind of a bit of a mess. So I don't know how it's going to work. It could blow up in my face. I'll show you a trick later that should drastically speed this up. It was taking an hour on the old card. Now on the new card, we're going to find out. But here's another trick you can do. We'll go over to File, and then Project, and we'll go to Render. And then, what was it? Not that. We want Abort Job. Go to Render Project. Right over here. This is a new feature of KDENLive. It hasn't been around all the time, but it's fairly new. You go to Parallel Processing. Now, and you can specify how many threads you have. Well, I've got like 2 CPUs. These CPUs are older. Basically, what I did is I got this machine from my old company, Stanley. They bought it for me more than 10 years ago as an employee benefit. It had some like super slow Xeon processors in there. But I was sold that ECC memory was the way to go because I could not fathom the idea of bit flips. It just drove me crazy. When I was investigating this, I thought, surely this is not right. Like, for example, if you have an if statement, you have a Boolean, okay? And your Boolean is testing if, has money, then sell product. And under down at the bottom, if they don't have the money, don't sell the product, right? Okay, that's one single if statement. That Boolean there is one single bit. Imagine what would happen if that bit flipped. Well, then you could sell products to people that shouldn't get them. Well, that's not good. Or what? Imagine if it was a nuclear. We're not going to talk about special weapons. Sorry, but imagine if it was a war device, and it says if master arm, then allow fire. If not master arm, don't allow the cannons to fire. And that bit flipped due to like an electromagnetic radiation, which is very common these days. And no, I don't think I've got like Chinese sitting outside my house shooting me with EM radiation trying to flip my bits. But there could be a solar flare. And, the Chinese could send out an EMP. Of course, if they send out an EMP, we're all going to be up the creek anyways. But, it's going to blow my ECC memory out the water. I won't even have electricity, which I don't really need. I don't need electricity, but I do need water, okay? I can't go without water. I can only go for like a few days without clean water, maybe. I can make it like 24 hours without any water, fine. But going for, more than a few days, I've never gone more than 24 hours without water. But going for more than a few days, I'd probably break. I'd probably crack, okay? I'd die, crack, develop serious diseases, kick over. Now that I'm older, I'm more susceptible to diseases. I'm sorry for all this extra stuff. So anyways, yeah, so I upgraded. So I bought these processors off of eBay, and they've served me well, but this motherboard is like maxed out now, and it's going to have to be swapped out in order for me to upgrade anymore. So I got two X56075s, which should be great. But Windows is doing Windows 10 is doing stupid stuff to slow them down. Like, for example, look, it says it's running at 2.7 gigahertz, and the base speed is 3.7 gigahertz. I went in the BIOS and tried to set the right settings to stop this down throttling, and it's still throttling. It's very annoying to me. I don't want it to throttle. So anyway, so I got like 24 cores. So I'm going to split this up, and I'm going to give 12 threads. And you should have plenty of threads too. Most modern CPUs these days have at least 6 cores, right? So that's probably 2 threads per core. You probably got 12 threads available. So you could probably give 6 threads to your rendering process. Well, I'm going to give 12 because I don't want to like totally tank my other processor, because that could like screw up the operating system. You know, you want to have, I've run into this with virtualization. You never want to allocate more than half your resources to VMs, all of your VMs, because then the performance starts going down. And I'm not running any VMs right now, but that's probably a good rule of thumb for this rendering too. Let's not allocate more than half of our available thread core, or at least half of our available. Let's not allocate more than half of our available cores to things other than the operating system. So we have 6 cores available, and for each of those 6 cores, 2 threads are possible. So we have 12 possible threads. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to crank these threads up to 12. We're going to click Render to File. Okay? All right? And we're going to do this again. Overwrite. I need to pull Task Manager up again. Sorry. I shouldn't have closed that. Now watch how this goes up. I didn't show you before, but it's going to crank out. Look, it's like sucking all, it's using all of the CPUs. I meant for it to only use 12 of them, but for some reason it's like using all 24. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, and how fast is it going? Well, it's rendering 18 frames per second right now. 18, 26. Wow, that's pretty doggone good. But what's going to happen later on, what has happened to me in the past, is that after a certain while, it starts scaling down, and when I'm not looking, it goes to like pot. But it's still way faster than the single-threaded. Okay, so I don't have to wait so much. Batch processing is not really what I need, though. The main thing is that when I was editing, it was such a problem, and proxy clips solved that problem. Now I'm going to cut out of here, and I'm going to go see if I can find that hack that guy on the internet showed. Okay, so now I'm going to try to show you how you might enable GPU rendering. This is from a post by a guy that goes by Vic. That's a cool, I don't know if that's his last name or not, but it's a cool name. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can't figure out how to put this in here according to how Vic says to do. There we go. Okay, project. Let's see. Project render. Where's render? Render. Okay. Render project. Okay, we're going to add a new profile right here. Okay, what group are we going to put it in? High definition. Preset name. I don't know. We're just going to call it test. Container A64. What container did he use? I don't know what F is MP4. I got that. Let's see. Oh my goodness. WebP. I don't see MP4. There it is. Okay, container of MP4. Great. Resolution. The resolution. Oh my goodness. I don't think I need to set that. I think it's quite obvious, right? What's 1080? I don't know. Maybe I should set the resolution. Oh goodness. 1080. This is more complicated than I thought. I just wanted to cut and paste what he had. I don't know. I just want to do it Vic's way. 1920 by 1080. All right. It's already at 1920 by 1080. Pixel aspect ratio 1:1. Display aspect ratio, I don't know. Frame rate. I'm going to leave that going. Scanning. Where was that? Oh, I need this. Let's see. 265. Okay. Nvidia H265 constant bitrate, containers MP4 codec H. I need to know where to specify the codec. Oh, right here. HEVC NVNC. And it's probably not going to be available. We got H264 NVNC, which is Nvidia, by the way. Here it is. That's the codec we need. We need to change the codec. VB. I don't know what VB is. 30,000K. A codec, audio codec. I don't know what VB is. 30,000K. I have got no idea. But the main thing is you got to change the codec. Rate control. Maybe that's rate control. I remember him saying somewhere that he was going to use constant bit rate. So we're going to pick constant bit rate. And the bit rate, that's probably VB. That's probably the bit rate. So I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm going to put in 30,000. 0, 1, 2, 3. Whoops. You better get that number right, because if it's wrong, there's probably going to be some serious issues. And I think I'm off by a 0. 3 zeros and 2 zeros. Wait a minute. No, there's 4 zeros. My caffeine is wearing off. I'm telling you. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Audio codec. What is AB? Buffer size? Yeah, 192K probably. That's probably the buffer size. 192 kilobytes. And the audio codec is AAC. Channels. Oh my goodness. I want all the channels to be I want all the channels to actually be mixed together, because I'm using more than one audio track. So this is really confusing. AAC. It doesn't show where I can... Oh, comfort noise. There. I've chosen an audio codec of AAC. And other. I think that's all of them. Okay? It would have been much easier if I could have just copied and pasted what he did, but I'm going to stick with this. So we're going to go click on OK. Test. Let's go scroll down and see if this looks like what he says. Audio codec, AAC, that looks good. CBR1, I don't know what that means. Channels 2. This is going to be stereo. I'm not going to be doing like Dolby Surround. F, MP4, yep, that matches. This is not on his. Real time -12, thread 0, I don't know. VB, 3000K, buffer size. He doesn't have a buffer size. Not that I can see. I don't have a VB for some reason. Video codec, HNVZC, that's the main part. Max, Vmax rate, 30,000. I don't know what all that is. Okay. This looks somewhat like what he says. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try it, okay? So, test, rendered file. Here come the nukes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to mention special weapons. You know, I could have done a nuke in Civilization. Look at that. 36 frames per second. 74 frames per second. Oh, man, we got to launch a Civ nuke. Yeah! Yeah, 23 frames per second. We might even be able to wait for this to get done. No, I don't want you to watch paint dry, but this is so awesome, man. That's what this new video card's doing. And you know what? I don't think the GT710 could come close to this. I don't think so. This is Nvidia accelerated. And oh crud. Let's see. The GPU's at 61%, 56%. I think OBS Studio is running. I might want to watch my GPU temperature. Oh my goodness. Look at it. My CPU is being used too. It's smoking too. I'm smoking the whole system. That's the way it's supposed to be, man. Yeah, dude. Oh, let's see. 50%. Yeah, 50% usage. And 27 degrees Celsius. That is so like way faster rendering. And you know, if you get like Power Director, it'll do this by default on a modern video card. If it's a modern version of Power Director and a modern video card, it'll do this for you automatically. You don't have to worry about this. And this is supposedly single threaded. This does not look like single threaded to me, but it's using the GPU and it's like faster than when I was using like 12 threads, I think. Now, will this work? Good question. That this looks like it was faster than when I was using 12 threads in my processor and no GPU rendering at all. So I'm getting both. I'm getting rendering. I'm thinking most of the work's being done by the GPU, but I'm going to cut out here, and I'm going to come back when this thing is done. We're going to watch it and see if it actually worked. Okay, so it's getting close to done. For whatever reason, it started chunking down towards the end. I think it was that title track that I was talking about there, where it was just displaying the scrolling text. That may be one way. That's just my favorite way to do credits. Seems to work out fairly professionally. I don't think KDENLive was expecting people to do credits, use that to do credits. And so that's the reason why it's not horribly efficient. But that's just the way it is. You need to... I don't even think proxy clips can fix that. Whoa, see, now it's 149? Did you see that? Did you use 149 frames per second? Man, I've never gotten anything that crazy fast before. So it rendered in like 16 minutes and 45 seconds. I know this is just like a 4-minute video, but I've got quite a bit going on in there, several tracks. I mean, I'm not saying the art quality is great, but I have quite a bit going on in here. Let's see, I've got like 11 different video tracks, and most of these are just like GIFs files, but at points it gets like bogged down, okay, for whatever reason. Okay, so now here's the test. We're gonna go in, and that's why it takes. And it took like an hour to do this the night that on Christmas, I think it was. I was trying to get it out on Christmas, and it wound up getting put out the next day. Now, I didn't know about the. I didn't know about that. I could have used. I didn't know that I could have used multi-threaded, and I didn't know that I didn't have a GPU. I was using the old GT710. Okay, and it rendered fine. You can go see the original video out there if you want on YouTube. Not that, I mean, you can if you want, and you'll see that it did okay, but it just took like I think it took an hour if I remember correctly. So we're gonna go in here where I'm not gonna make you sit through this whole thing. This is the videos I'm working on right now. I need a new file explorer. This is why I prefer working in GNU Linux, because the file explorer is more responsive. I'm not having problems right now, which is great. Maybe maybe these government actors have decided to quit messing with me because they realize that I'm just a loving dad that wants his children back. But anyway, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. Oh, I already sanitized this. All right, now, so videos. But, so maybe that's why my PC's working better now. Look at that. Look at this. This is the Microsoft Windows world I deal with. Alright, we're going to look at MC Grace. It rendered in 656 megs, which is kind of big. But that's a little bigger than what I was getting with VP9. Actually, I think I was rendering to VP9, so that's not a really great test when I was on that night, on Christmas night, why maybe it took so long. But, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying that with the GT card, it seems a lot faster when I enable GPU rendering, and that's something you can't really do so well with the GT710. Sounds pretty good so far. Looks looks pretty smooth. I don't see any artifacts. There is a problem with Windows 10. Not too many hiccups. Okay, I'm not seeing any hiccups, so we're going to skip over to some of the ugly parts. I'm not seeing any problems there. Let's skip over to that nasty title. See how smooth that is? Video quality's okay. So I'm not really seeing any artifacts. Let's skip down to the end. Whoops, not that far. So, not seeing any issues with this. This may not render real well on your monitor if you're... There was an artifact right there. Okay, so GPU rendering had some artifacts, but that may not render. That picture of my daughter, stop. That may not render real well if your TV color's off. I'm not a professional photographer. I think she might become... I think she may become a professional videographer someday, but yeah, if the TV... So basically, it's optimized on my monitor, and I see it fine. But on your TV, if your TV color settings are slightly different than mine, it may come out where she's a little bit redder than, or more pale than expected. But on my computer right now, she looks great. But obviously I'm biased. So anyway, she did this. I think she did this with the help of her sister Caitlin. They got together. I think Caitlin took the picture, and I think maybe Kristen went to Shutterfly and did this graduation picture.